Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Taylor and I'm with TV Toastmasters. My home group is Feedbackers in Beaverton, Oregon. I first joined Toastmasters for a couple reasons. I was nervous. I had trouble speaking in front of others. I needed some help. And when I joined Toastmasters, not knowing what to expect, I learned several things. One, it gave me the confidence to speak in front of others. I learned how to take constructive criticism. I benefited from that. That benefit was the confidence to get a job. When I took the suggestions in the club, when I started speaking in front of a group and remained speaking through my role, doing table topics, getting topics that you're unaware, learning how to think on your feet, learning how to speak on your feet. I first started working managing the Berkshire Hathaway account. I started as a back office role, not the face of the company. It didn't take long until I was dealing directly with the executives. Today I give executive briefings for Verizon Enterprise in the highest level in the enterprise space. And I'm grateful and I owe all of that to Toastmasters. Thank you.
Welcome to another episode of TV Toastmasters. I'm your host, Erik Bergman, and I'm also a member of We Toasted Toastmasters in Lake Oswego. How would you like to spend a week in Europe, say in a 12th century Polish castle, and have free room and board? Sounds pretty great, doesn't it? Well, of course, there's a bit of a catch, but our guest tonight, Jim Wolak, has found a way that he can enrich his own life while improving the lives of people in Europe, and he's here to tell us about it. So please welcome the president of Siuslaw Tail Spinners Toastmasters from Florence, Oregon, Jim Wolak. Jim, welcome to the show.
Hi, Eric. Thank you. It's great to be here.
And you have found a great way to spend time in Europe, quality time, through a program which is an English language immersion program.
Yes, exactly.
Can you tell us about that? What is it, and how did you find out about it?
Certainly. Well, I found out about it when I was touring Europe back in 2014, and I would occasionally stay with couch surfers, and on the couch surfing website I received an email basically saying, I understand you're in Poland, would you be interested in an educational adventure? So I asked for more information and was provided details about what involved Angloville. It was basically, as you said, it's a week-long immersion program for adults with pretty adequate speaking skills, and held at anywhere from a 5-star hotel to a 12th century castle located about a 2-hour drive from some of the major cities in Central Europe, primarily Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic.
So the program is called Angloville.
Yes.
And you joined as a volunteer mentor to help mainly professional people in Europe improve their English skills.
That's correct. And some of them are sent by their companies. They might be junior executives. Others go on their own. But primarily professional people. I was fortunate to have an air traffic controller from the Warsaw Airport as one of my mentees. The program consists of about 15 European speakers and 15 English speakers. So the group size is approximately 30. If it's a smaller hotel or venue, we have the whole place to ourselves. If it's a bigger one, we share. We still have separate dining facilities.
Right, so you're there as a mentor, and am I correct that the only real qualification is that you're a native English speaker, so it's your first language?
Yes, you need to be it needs to be your native language no matter where you are born in the world. A degree is not required. It's certainly helpful. Professional experience is helpful, but the only requirements are the nose as far as, say, a criminal background, because to join Angloville, one does go through a background check.
So a background check and certainly a desire to be very sociable with people and help them as they build their English speaking skills.
Exactly.
And we're not talking about teaching them grammar, or it's not a teacher type role. It's mentorship and sharing conversation. so their conversational skills build.
Exactly.
Correct? Yeah.
And it's divided into what I would call two major sections, one which consists of programs, one-on-one, two-on-two, group activities with different people throughout the week, so you're having a chance to meet everyone. And then on the Monday, each person is assigned one individual who they work with the entire week, daily and also during some free time. That person will give a 5 to 7 minute presentation in English as basically their graduation presentation, much like a Toastmasters icebreaker.
Right. So those who are building their skills are preparing to present to the whole group throughout, putting together all the skills they've gained.
That's correct. And while they may be at a level where they're capable of writing a paragraph or perhaps even a story, we'll go through on how to enhance how a sentence is formed, maybe substitute a different word for another word, organize the presentation much like, again, a Toastmasters icebreaker.
Now, you've mentioned Toastmasters a number of times, and you've been a longtime Toastmasters member since you first joined it back in the 1970s, if I'm correct.
Yes, actually 1976 when I left graduate school and went back to the corporate world and found I wasn't very good in business meetings.
Even though you had an advanced degree, public speaking had not been part of that.
Sadly, no. But
Wow.
Toastmasters helped fill that bill.
And you've stayed with it. I mean, you haven't been a Toastmaster continually.
No,
you had some gaps,
had a couple
but you're
gaps.
still with it.
Yes.
And that's a
Very
long
definitely.
Toastmaster career.
It is. Seen a lot of changes in the program, and most of them for the better, and had a chance to hold area and division offices, and been grateful for all that experience.
Great. Yes, the leadership of being a club president, an area director, division director, all these things are ways that Toastmaster members practice those skills by doing what's needed. Yeah,
exactly.
It's very hands-on, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Let's get back to the kind of the ambiance and the setting. Say you're in a hotel or some kind of a nice establishment where you're going to be fed and taken care of, and the facilities are there. You have spare time during Angloville sessions to get out and see the local area. Well, and you build friendships.
Yes.
Tell us about, I know you were able to even travel with some of the people you met there.
Yes, I was, and very briefly from the beginning, the very first Saturday before the program, one can take part in a free city tour. That's for the English speakers. Then we travel by bus to the venue, so we have a chance to get to know the European people we'll be with. And during the program, people make friendships. Others may travel together. Somebody might say, hey, I'm going to Greece. You're interested in going? It might be to teach a program, might be to vacation. But one year I had the good fortune of meeting a couple from Australia, my age, and they said that the next summer they were going to be camping up the Red Centre and then going around to Perth, and they invited me to join them for the first part of their trip. And I was just ecstatic about it. I did that. We spent 18 days camping up the center, hiking, doing photography, and for me it's meeting people almost on a different level of friendship, a level of trust and personal growth and just wanting to learn and absorb and gain more.
Certainly spending a week in fairly close quarters and working toward a goal of a presentation, that would have to really bring people together.
It does, and another nice thing about this is it's not a classroom situation. The one-on-ones can be held essentially anywhere except one's private room. It can be outdoors, it could be in a swimming pool, it could be when one is going for a hike. So the structure, the emphasis is on the one-on-one rather than a strictly program type of environment.
And I imagine, now you've spent a lot of time on Angloville sessions in Poland because that's of particular interest to you. Why did you choose that country? And tell us a little bit about Poland and what it's been like for you.
Well, certainly. I chose Poland because I'm 100% Polish, my grandparents actually, and one of my initial pursuits was to learn more about my family background, possibly pursue dual citizenship. But the other part was, as a longtime photographer, was to explore the cultural part of Poland. For me, history, certainly. I'm a World War II buff, so I was interested in learning what happened in the country. And it helped dispel some of the notions I have of Poland maybe being just a big flat place. There's a lake area in the northeast part of the country called Masurian Lakes. One of our presenters gave a beautiful PowerPoint presentation on how he spends his time there. There's mountains in the south where people go skiing or spend the summers. The north is the Baltic Sea with beaches. And so a very, very diverse country, very friendly. Another thing I love exceptionally is the fact that public transit is so readily available and you don't need a car to get anywhere within the cities.
Great. Now, how many sessions of Angloville language immersion have you gone through?
I have gone through 12 so far. Normally I do 1 to 2 a year. One year I did 3. Now the sessions are very intense, so one is not allowed to do more than 2 back to back. But the reason for 3 is after completing a 3rd session, a participant gets a discount on obtaining their TEFL certificate online, teaching English as a foreign language, and Angloville will fit the bill for the rest of that. So one basically chooses a venue. All this is available on the website. Find out what's available and how many weeks you want to spend eating some good local food and really getting to know people on a personal basis.
And angloville.com is the website, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Angloville.com.
Angloville.com, Angloville.com.
Angloville. It said their slogan is something like "Where the world meets."
It's
That's
very
great.
close to that, yes. And the other reason about Poland, Angloville did begin in Poland, I believe was the year 2010. Now they're also in other Central European countries, but most of the cities are in Poland where the programs take off from. Warsaw, Wrocław, Krakow, Lublin, and of course Budapest in Hungary. There is a program in Ireland, believe it or not, but that's called junior, and instructors need to be under the age of 30. But for the adult programs, it's basically anyone 18 and over with English as their native language.
That's great. Well, I'm sure you'll have more to tell us in the second half of our show. For now, we're going to take a tiny break, and we'll be back really soon to hear more from Jim Wolak about Angloville and the language immersion opportunities that can get you to Europe and stay like a local in Europe. Maybe if you want to be a volunteer mentor to help someone in Europe become a better English speaker. We'll be right back.
What do you learn in Toastmasters? Not just how to deliver a great speech, not just how to be more confident when you do that. You learn the art, the craft of speech writing. People get paid a lot of dollars to write speeches for famous people. You can be one of those, or you can just write speeches for yourself. But you can learn not only to deliver those speeches in Toastmasters, to craft a well-written speech. What you write and what you say are sometimes different because the written word and the spoken word come across differently. So in Toastmasters, you learn how to craft a speech with a strong opening to catch that audience, a good body to deliver your message, and a closing to wrap it all together. You learn how to write that speech, deliver that speech, improve that speech with greater confidence. That is part of the package you get in Toastmasters.
We're back again at TV Toastmasters. I'm Erik Bergman, and tonight I'm speaking with Jim Wolak. He's a fellow Toastmaster, and he's a world traveler who's found a great way to stretch a travel budget. How about free food and lodging in some really cool hotels, castles, etc., in Central Europe on the European continent in a program called Angloville. Jim, you've been telling us about the language immersion program Angloville and how
Yes.
you've been a mentor there 12 different times over the past years.
Yes.
And you've mentioned some of the similarities with Toastmasters. Let's delve into that a bit. What are some of the Toastmaster skills that you've learned in many decades as a Toastmasters member that you can apply to helping non-English speakers improve their English skills in the Angloville program?
Well, there's several of them. Many apply to the 5 to 7 minute graduation presentation, but they carry through the entire week. Examples would be vocal variety, eye contact, use of gestures, and organizing the presentation. Tell the audience what you're going to say, tell them what you're going to tell them what you've told them, the conclusion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what I also like to do is, for people who are interested in Toastmasters, show them some of the short video clips on how it can help prepare their icebreaker or a certain aspect of their speech. Also, since most of the students are from major cities in Europe, if they are interested, I'll look up where our local club meets, what time, how it would fit into their schedule. And most of the clubs there are in English, and I also would want to mention in the Angloville program, it is not necessary to know anything about the local language, since all the presentations are in English.
Aha, very good. Yeah. So even if you have only one language, if it's English, Angloville could be for you.
Exactly.
What are some of the things that you find that people have the most trouble with as they grapple with the thought of, I need to stand up in front of a group and present 5 to 7 minutes? What are some of the things that trip them up that you've been able to help them with?
Well, initially it's being thrown into a new environment, and a lot of that dissipates throughout the week as we go through the individual sessions, learn some of the business idioms that are used, so people are more comfortable with English type of sessions. We even have one where we are seated back to each other and pretend one person is making a phone reservation for a hotel or a vacation.
Yeah.
So it establishes a comfort level in thinking and speaking in English. And the butterflies tend to fly a little more in formation as the week progresses and as the people practice. I encourage them to practice in front of a mirror, to record themselves, and of course practice one-on-one in front of me before they're in front of the audience. Because everybody likes to be adapted to their own learning style, to be corrected, if you will, maybe with an enhancement, some immediately, others after they've given a paragraph or two. So we tailor it to their individual learning style.
Great. Now, modern English is a fast evolving language, and we even if we're native speakers, we might struggle to keep up with what certain phrases mean, especially, and business is no exception. And a lot of these students are trying to learn English at a higher level, specifically for business purposes.
Correct.
And I certainly, by the way, want that Polish air traffic controller to have great English, because that's the official language. English is the official language of aircraft safety, and that's how the pilots and everybody communicates.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
What are some of the idioms that they've had difficulty understanding, or that first don't make sense to them unless it's explained what a certain phrase means?
There's probably about 15,000 of them, but an easy example would be, let's blue sky this. Let's table the motion. Well, somebody will think, okay, I know what a table is. I know what a motion is. You can...
But what is tabling the motion?
What is tabling a motion?
Yeah.
What is blue skying? And, we tend to fixate more on the most common ones that people either have heard and didn't know what they are, or that they might hear in the future.
Do you hear from some of the students that, boy, is English complicated? That some of them think their native language is easier or has more consistent rules?
Different rules, I would say, at this level of the program, which
Yeah.
is essentially mid to upper level. People
Yeah.
have accepted the fact that English is a different language and pretty much adapted to communicating in it for the most part in a very understandable way. The other aspect I wanted to mention, getting back to the presentations, is the amount that those of us learn from the Polish participants. How somebody has started up their own business, how somebody has gone parasailing on the Masurian lakes in Poland, how what I've learned about being, how someone is actually being an air traffic controller and the responsibilities. So the learning and the fascination for me is a two-way street to being a mentor and, in a sense, a mentee to what these individuals are doing in their lives and their careers.
You're certainly getting a deeper appreciation of that country's culture and food and history and just daily life than if you, say, took a 3-day tour of Warsaw, right?
Exactly, because you're learning it from one-on-one people who are living there and most likely have been born there. They're not tour guides.
Yeah, yeah.
It's and I've experienced both. One learns from both, but the real true feel of family life, what happens during the week, where do they go on vacation, why, what type of form of government do they like in some of our exercises. Interestingly enough, monarchy tends to be the top one chosen. So we learn about the different systems in their lives and in their government, in their country.
Yeah, that's so important. So because might think that everybody thinks just like we do, everyone lives the way we do. Well, there are similarities, of course, but big differences that are important and that we can learn from. I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, exactly. And another nice thing about Angloville is each group has its own Facebook page, so those of us who do want to keep in touch, either with the moderator or with other members, we can do so after the program. It's not, once you're done, goodbye. And a lot of us have gone back year after year and met some of the same mentors. So it's in a sense a huge family.
That's great. Again, Angloville is open to anyone who's an English speaker who wants to help mentor the Europeans learn great English, and you don't have to be an English teacher, you don't have to know all the grammar or how to explain it.
That's correct.
But just speaking English, and this really sounds like such a wonderful cultural enrichment for everybody involved.
Yeah, very definitely. And the inner desire to just have that good feeling of helping someone else and seeing someone else progress. And that also relates to Toastmasters as they grow in their speaking skills, their confidence level increases as well.
Right. Truly everyone involved is becoming more of a citizen of the world with a wider perspective and a new outlook.
Yeah, very definitely, very definitely.
In the last 30 seconds for you, Jim, what's your takeaway from Angloville and what you've gained from it?
My takeaway is I plan to go back again this year because I love it so much. I would encourage anyone who wants to incorporate a week of their European travel time to go to the angloville.com website, look at some of the venues, see where they might want to spend a week with a new experience and an opportunity to see Europe or that particular country from a different perspective.
Well, I really appreciate that you could come on the show and tell us about this opportunity. It certainly does sound intriguing. That's it for our episode of TV Toastmasters. Look for us again regularly on this cable channel, and you can also watch our YouTube channel. I'm Erik Bergman. Come back again another week and watch another episode of TV Toastmasters.